Alrighty, let's spend a little bit of time going over these formulas again for prisms and cylinders. Let's see. So here's our first set of notes for today. We want to review that prisms have these flat sides, and those are called faces. So prisms are made up of multiple faces where the faces come together. These are the edges. And then, of course, these points are vertices. One is a vertex, many are vertices. Okay. Prisms also, and we've discussed this before, have these parallel bases. So they do have these opposite bases that are congruent sides. Well, you know what? So does a cylinder. So that's how a cylinder can be kind of similar, but prisms, of course, are made up of sides, of faces, rectangles. Okay, so moving on from there, let's look at this one example. I don't think you have numbers written in, so you can write them in. We are going to use 10 as this long side down here. We're going to have 6 be the whole length from C to E, and 5 is going to be the length of CD and DE. So we are going to make this triangle at the end an isosceles triangle. Notice the triangle on the back is exactly the same. Now, because it's an isosceles triangle, what we can do is drop an altitude, and that's what we're going to do here, because a lot of times they will have a triangle, but maybe not give you the height. So now what I'm going to do is take out half of this entire triangle, and the reason why I'm doing that is because when I drop that altitude, I made a right triangle. So I'm going to pull out the right triangle, and notice 5 was that side from C to D. We're going to figure out what this is. It's 4, but pretend you don't know that yet. And then when we came perpendicular down here, we cut 6 in half, and we have 3 and 3, so that's where 3 is. So if we want to find this side, we could have called it A, and A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared, and that's where you're going to get your 3, 4, 5, whatever it is. But that's a 4, so you can use the Pythagorean theorem. So now you have your height. We needed to find the height. Okay, so now for surface area. For my surface area, I'm going to consider all of my surfaces. I don't always use a formula. There are 2 triangles, one in the front, one in the back. So that's going to be the 1/2 base times height times 2, and then of course I have my 3 rectangles. So if I'm going to find my 2 triangles first, then it's going to be 2 times 1/2. My base is 6, my height is 4, there it is, right? So then when I cancel out this 1/2 times 2, then my 2 triangles front and back total 24. Moving on from that, I have 3 rectangles. I have a rectangle, this big one here that you can see, that's 5 times 10. One just like it in the back, that's also 5 times 10, and the one on the bottom that is 6 times 10. These are the areas for each of those rectangles, and I can get my grand total of 184. So that's that. So 5 times 10, 5 times 10, 6 times 10. So now that is my 184 meters squared is my total surface area. Volume, I always use a formula for. Volume is equal to base times height. Capital B implies area of the base. So now I need the area of the base filled down with my height. So the area of my base is a triangle. So the base is a triangle. Remember, I'm going to consider my triangular prisms standing on end like this. So now I can clearly see that the triangles, the 2 parallel sides, are my bases. Okay, so now I come back to over here, and I have base times height. Well, my base is 6 and my height is 4. So 1/2 6 times 4 times my long height, which right here is 10. So times 10. Figure that out, it's 120. So 120 meters cubed is my final answer there. Let's flip this guy over. Okay, so we have another example here. This guy is the cylinder. I don't think you have any numbers. Let's write them in. The diameter across the whole top is going to be 10. And since our diameter is 10, that makes your radius equal to 5. Let's consider that our height is 8. Okay, so now we need to talk about our surface area. Remember, the surface areas for the cylinder, there are 3 of them. There's a circle on the top, a circle on the bottom, and then there's this around the outside part. But remember, if it were a can, and if the can had a label, then you could cut up the side of the label, and when you open a label, it's a rectangle. So we are actually going to find 2 circles plus the rectangle. Now remember, the rectangle has dimensions height and the whole around. That's what will happen when it unravels. This is that top dimension here, and that is circumference. Circumference is 2 pi r. So when we actually write the formula, it's 2 circles, pi r squared, and 2 pi r times your height. So we fill in the numbers. All there is a radius of 5, height of 8. Figure it out, 130 pi inches squared. I think this actually moves too on me. Is it going to move? There it goes. Okay. This side over here. So my volume is capital B times H. And the capital B, again, stands for area of the base. Area of the base times your height. Well, our base, in this case, is a circle. So the area for a circle is pi r squared. Plug in the 5. Your height is 8. 200 pi inches cubed. Okay. So then after that, we just have a bunch of examples. Maybe I'll work some of them through with you because why not? I'm here. Okay. Or you can turn it off now. I don't really care if you want to do these on your own. Okay, we're going to find the surface area. Yes, the answers are staring you in the face. And yes, you can write them down now. Let's see how we got the answers for 3A over here on the left. Okay, it's a box, like a tissue box, right? So if we want to find the surface area, let's consider all of the surfaces. There are 6 in a box. There is the front and the back, the top and the bottom, and the left and the right. Okay, so I don't remember the order I just said it, but let's first think about, I'm looking at this 9 and 4. So that is the bottom, 9 by 4. And the bottom and the top are the same, so we will need 2 of those. Did I go in that order? Yes. So we're going to need whatever the 9 by 4 is, we're going to need 2 of those, right and left. So actually, I don't think I did that. I think I did the front and the back next. So the front and the back, so here is the front. The front and the back are the same. The front is 9. Remember, all these vertical pieces, those guys are the same. So the front is 9 by 3, and so is the back. 9 times 3, and there are 2 of them. That leaves me with the left and the right, and that's 2 of them, and the left and the right is 3 by 4. So we multiply all of these out, and that's your 2 fourths, total of 6 sides, and that is 150, and that's your 150 feet squared. Volume, always use a formula. Length times width times height, just multiply all the numbers, 108. Moving on to this guy over here. Okay, a triangular prism. This triangular prism, unlike the ones that we've done so far, the triangle is not isosceles. So we are not going to use any kind of formula that you may have used previously for surface area. Always use a formula for volume. So for surface area, I'm going to consider that there are 5 sides. There are the 2 triangles in the front and the back, and then there are 3 rectangles. There's a rectangle here in the front, there's a rectangle in the back, and then there's a rectangle on the bottom. Okay, so for my 2 triangles, those guys are exactly the same. So it's 2 times the 1/2, and then it's base times height, 2 times 5. So 2 times 1/2 times 2 times 5, well, that's 10. And that takes care of my 2 triangles. I have 3 rectangles. So if I am going to consider the rectangle that's kind of this biggest one going down on the right, then that is going to be 5.4 times 7. So that's that front rectangle. That's this guy. Check. I also have a big rectangle in the back, and if I trace that rectangle right here, those dimensions are 7 times 5, or 5 times 7. There it is. That's 35. The last rectangle I have is on the bottom. So it is this bottom rectangle, and it's 2 by, and it might not look like there is anything, but remember these are rectangles. So if that's 7, this is 7, you can write it in, and 2 by 7 is 14. So you'll want to add up all 4 of these numbers on the right and get 196. You already saw 0.8, you already saw that on top. And then your volume is equal to area of your base. And remember, base is a triangle, so that's 1/2 base times height, times your height for the whole entire figure, fill down, and that's 7. So there's your 35. So 35 centimeters cubed. Maybe I have time to go through 1 or 2 more. Okay, this is the next page. Yep, and the answers are staring you in the face, and that's okay, I'm all right with that. Okay, surface area. Consider all of the sides. There are 6. You have your front and your back, your top and your bottom, and your left and your right. So if we are going to do the front and the back, and I'm going to trace it sometimes, that helps me. So here's this one in the front. Well, that is 16, and this up and down measurement is 7, and that's this. So that's 16 times 7, I have 2 of them. That's my front and back. I also have top and bottom. So the top and bottom is this guy here, and that is 16, and this short measurement is 2. That's this. So that's the top and bottom. Bot? Sure, and that's back. My left and right are 7 by 2, so that's left and right. And there's 2 of them. Multiply all of this out. Multiply each row. And then add up all of those numbers, and you'll get 316. Over here, volume, length times width times height. Just multiply that. This guy over here, don't use a formula for. Do it in pieces when you do surface area. Your surface area, if you see, has your bases on the top and the bottom. There's 2 triangles. You have 2 triangles, so that's 2 times whatever the area of your triangle is. Well, they give you this. They give you the 6 and the 8. So they give you the 2 sides here, the base and the height. So 1/2, 6 times 8, multiply that out, fine, it's 48. Now you have 1, 2, and 1 in the front, 3 rectangles. What they don't give you is this, but it's a 6, 8, 10. As soon as you have a right triangle, use your Pythagorean theorem. Some of us have these memorized, even better, so write in the 10. I also wrote in my 6 and my 8 and the 10 on the bottom. Seeing all of the numbers there kind of helps me. Okay, so now if I'm going to consider this triangle, maybe back here on the left, so it's 6 on the top and bottom, but remember all these vertical heights are 6s, right? So that back left over there, that's your 6 by 6. So that's that one. This back right is 8 by 6. Yeah, that's that one. And then I have this front one here, and that's 6 in this direction and 10 in this direction. So there's 10 by 6. That's that one. So I have all of those, add them down, and that is going to be my surface area. Your volume, capital B times H. So the base of the area of your base, and that's a triangle. So that's 1/2 base times height. Only focus on the triangle here. So your base and your height is 6 times 8. 1/2 of that is 24. And then you want to fill down with your height. So times your 6. Multiply that out. 144 centimeters cubed. Okay, the rest of it, there are answers posted. Whoops. And that's how long I wanted it to be.